All right, guys, I think we are live. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another live Q&A Friday. So good to be back once again, chatting with all of the Nav Nation. Let's see who we got joining up in the live here. We got Brian coming in. We got about 5 people in the chat thus far. Again, guys, thank you so much for being here tonight. It's always good to connect with you guys in these Q&As, and as I said, I'm bringing these back as consistently as I can, as often as I can moving forward. So they won't be like before, unfortunately, where it's every single week, but we'll try to do this maybe every other week, or sometimes we'll do it back to back, but really it's just based upon my availability. But again, love doing these Q&As and connecting with all of you guys. So again, thanks for being here on this Friday evening and spending it with your boy PokéNav. So before we start jumping into some questions here, a couple announcements right off the bat that I want to go ahead and get into, and definitely the one that you're seeing in the title there, definitely want to discuss that because pretty big news overall. So first thing here, roundtable. How did you guys like that roundtable last night with Pokenomics, Z&G Emporium, and Pokemon Radar? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then I highly suggest that when we're done here tonight that you go back and check out the Pokemon Roundtable that we did last night as part of the Pokemon Masterclass. It was an awesome conversation, guys. I mean, and it was awesome also to have Pokemon Radar as now a new member of these roundtable discussions. Along with Jake, along with Z, we now have Pokemon Radar that is joining us for those roundtable discussions each and every month. We plan on doing that once a month, if not more. But it's just such a fun time, such a good conversation. There's always really cool topics that we discuss, really the most relevant topics that are affecting or impacting the TCG at that time. And we got into some great conversations last night. And on top of that, we also got a couple cameo appearances from some really big members of the hobby, some big content creators, big collectors, investors. Pokemon Radar was out in California, and I won't spoil it for you guys, but those of you that joined in last night, you know what I'm talking about. And that was really cool to be able to see that, to be able to see those people, and again, just to have those awesome conversations. So right off the bat, make sure that you go and check that out right after we're done here tonight, or check it out this weekend. You can always listen to it on or watch it on YouTube, or you can go on over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, any of your favorite podcasting apps, and you can listen to the episode there as well if that's more convenient for you. All right, so now that that is taken care of, next thing on the list here, as you guys know, we are on the road to 10,000 subscribers. And I have to say, guys, since the last time that we spoke, last time I was talking to you guys about how the channel had really stagnated as far as growth, and I really wanted to get your input on how or what you guys thought I could do to improve upon the channel, to make better content. And I really took all of that to heart. What you guys told me last time, took a lot of that feedback. And since then, guys, I mean, really over the course of 2 weeks, we have gotten right back on track again. The channel is growing. All of the things that are important for a YouTuber and for somebody trying to grow a channel, they are really trending in the right direction. So I just want to thank you guys right up front for providing all of that feedback, because that is really invaluable. As I said from the beginning, you guys really drive the channel, you drive the content, and ultimately I'm creating content that you want to see. So as I said, we are on the road to 10,000 subscribers. So for anyone that is joining in, or if you're watching this now in the replay, then by all means, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, join the Nav Nation, help us get to 10,000 subscribers, because when we do, I have a series of giveaways that we're going to do. There's going to be several of them. There's going to be several products that we're going to be giving away over the course of probably a few weeks after we hit 10,000 subscribers to celebrate that momentous occasion. So I know you guys are going to really enjoy that and have a lot of fun, and ultimately get some products in your hands, possibly. So, and we've got some great people within the community that have also donated products for that giveaway and for the celebration when we hit 10,000 subscribers. And I will be paying homage to them along the way as well, and really giving them the credit that they deserve for helping me out in that giveaway. So again, 10,000 subscribers, we are getting there very, very quickly. And when we do, we're going to have a lot of really cool products to give away. All right, and the last thing before we jump into some questions here tonight is, as the title suggests, you guys might be asking yourselves, what does PokéNav mean? Well, today we already know, 23rd, Silver Lance, PokéNav can't speak tonight, Jet Black Spirit, otherwise known as, I believe in Japan, it's also known as Jet Black Poltergeist, yeah, something like that. Those are released today, and you know, I have to say, I have always really wanted to get more products directly from Japan, but never really had a reputable dealer that I could work with or somebody that I trusted. Well, guys, I can tell you right here, right up front, that has changed. I am now working with a very reputable dealer, a very reputable person, a good member of the community that will be providing products to me from Japan. So over the next week, probably within a week, I will have Japanese products up on the website for purchase. And that's going to include the newest sets, Silver Lance and Jet Black Spirit. And those will be the booster boxes. That'll probably be what I get up initially on the website, is the booster boxes for those. But really excited about this. Really excited to have a reputable source over in Japan that I can work with to provide you guys with products from Japan from the origin of Pokemon. Finally, who would have thought? And so really excited about that, guys, and I hope you are too. And just looking forward to getting those products in. And if you guys don't know, Silver Lance, Jet Black Spirit, those are the two sets that will be combined to create our Chilling Reign, which will be released, I believe, in June. Yeah, I think early June, if I'm not mistaken. So really looking forward to that. And yeah, so that is pretty much it, guys. Japanese products on the way. I will have those up on the website probably within the week. So maybe by this time next week, maybe by next weekend. But what I'm going to do is I am going to send out a notification, a notice to all channel members first, so that you guys are apprised of when those products actually drop on the website, so that you really have first grabs at it. Definitely want to reward all of you that are supporting the channel from a membership capacity, and so just be on the lookout to getting that notification so that you can jump onto the website if you're wanting to pick up Silver Lance or Jet Black Spirit. All right. So I think that is going to do it today for the announcements. I think that's all I've got here. We've got some people rolling in the live chat. Let's see. We got Jake from Pallet Town as always. Brian, Martha, my boy, Collecting with Jules. What's up, man? MJ, Langtrout, Tyrius, Zaminator, and Hyper Wolf. What is going on, everybody? Good to have you guys here. So let's go ahead and start jumping into some questions here. People are starting to trickle in, so let's see what we got coming in here. Langtrout, I appreciate that, my friend. Been subscribed since before 2,000 subscribers. Wow, that's pretty crazy. I think the only one that was maybe subscribed prior to that was Jules himself. I think Jules was a part of that OG 100 crew, which is pretty crazy. The fact that we've become such good friends since then. It's funny how things work out. All right, let's see. Yeah, looks like you guys are excited about the Japanese products. I think we've got a little bit more of a time delay here tonight from what I'm saying to what you guys are actually hearing. So, you know, there's always something to deal with when it comes to streaming. Yeah, Jules, original 100, my friend. It's crazy. All right, Leo B, starting us off here. Thoughts on Pokemon Champions Festival Tropical Beach cards, particularly the finals of cards. Why aren't these higher? It's a good question. And just recently became aware of these particular cards. And, this is something that we talked about last night on the roundtable, in that one of the reasons that I can't speak entirely of the other guys, but I think the consensus among all of us was that the hobby as a whole is becoming much more knowledgeable and educated with what is really out there and what is actually rare, valuable, SM Pratt's golden rules, the older, minter, rarer, better, something. I can't even remember the commandments from old Scott Pratt, but essentially that's what they're starting to understand. They're starting to see products out there that have much more inherent value than what they initially were looking at when they first got into the hobby. And that's why you're seeing price corrections on certain products that, especially graded cards that have really high populations. You're starting to see those corrections happen. And then other cards that are much more rare, much more scarce, you're starting to see those prices reflect that and starting to climb, and people are starting to migrate towards those particular products. So this could be a similar situation here where people just are not that familiar with them. Again, it was only just recently that I became aware of many of these cards as well. So, and I've been in the hobby now for, extensively for going on 5 years now, over 5 years now. So, even during that time frame, I still am learning about new products, new cards, each and every day. So for somebody that is coming in brand new and maybe have taken a long hiatus, it's only understandable that they're not fully apprised of the vastness of the hobby. Kyle Roberts, appreciate it, my friend. Calendar Master, welcome from Hawaii. Jake from Pallet Town, what are some good sources to get the latest information on going abouts of the card world on a weekly, daily basis? Man, I would have to say PokeBeach has always been my go-to resource for any updates, any new developments, at least within the realm of the TCG. And I actually water Pokemon trainer, and I forget his real name, but I would love to have him on my podcast personally. I don't think he's ever been interviewed, but the guy has created an amazing website that is so extensive, and they are always first, before everyone else, to drop information on the newest developments within the TCG, and it just baffles me sometimes how they're able to do so. But yeah, I would say PokeBeach is my go-to resource for all of the latest information. They're almost always the first one to drop any new developments. Good question though. All right, let's see here. Brazil, coworker gave me 100 Japanese Neo Gen promo binder 1 sleeves at $20 a piece. Says he has another 100. Should I go all in? Japanese Neo Gen promo binder 1 sleeves. Man, I tell you what. So I always have a hard time telling somebody to go all in on something. It's kind of the analogy of putting all of your eggs in one basket. We use that commonly in the financial world. So I'm never really a huge proponent of that. But again, that's Neo Gen. You really can't go wrong with something like that. But to me, diversification is always a better option and is probably the safer route to take. Luca Minna, what do you think about the long term of Chilling Reign investments? Chilling Reign is really turning out to be an amazing set, in my opinion. Looking at the cards, looking at the artwork on the cards. I don't know if you guys have seen the promos as well. Especially the Celebi. these cards really look amazing, and Pokemon seems to step it up every single set. They really seem to step it up with the artwork. And, in the beginning, I wasn't too excited about Chilling Reign, but now that I'm starting to see more and more cards come out, and as I said, now that we're going to have an early look at many of these cards that will be featured in Chilling Reign through Silver Lance and Jet Black Spirit. Man, I am struggling with that one tonight. Jet Black Spirit, I've really taken a turn for the better, in my opinion, on Chilling Reign, and I think it's going to be good. I think that people are now holding out for Chilling Reign, probably not buying nearly as many battle styles. I've seen it myself. I've seen it on the website that it seems the interest or the amount of people that are wanting to get battle styles has gone down, and I think that people are holding out for either Silver Lance or Jet Black Spirit, or just holding out until Chilling Reign actually drops. So I think it's good. I think the long-term prospects of it are good. Just looking at the artwork, looking at the cards that are in there, I think there's a lot of potential there. PokéDog, hey man, thanks for the super chat. I appreciate that. Yo Nav, thanks for the content. So helpful for us small up and coming channels. Hey, well, I certainly appreciate that, man. I would still consider myself a small and up and coming channel, and with lots of room to grow. We all every day. It's funny. I've had the opportunity to speak with some really big content creators, really big collectors and investors, and the funny thing is that they always feel that there's still room to grow. There's still room to grow as a person, grow as a content creator, grow as a collector, investor, whatever it may be. And I think that's just a good characteristic and a good outlook to have whenever you're pursuing any type of endeavor, in my opinion. But yeah, thanks again for that, PokéDog. Really appreciate it, man. All right, let's see here. Daniel, will the Eevee Hero set drop before or after the 25th anniversary set? As far as I know, it's supposed to drop before, which I think Eevee Heroes is going to be huge as well. Probably one of the biggest Japanese sets as far as popularity outside of Japan in quite some time. Probably the last one that I think of that probably has that same level of popularity or notoriety was probably like the GX Ultra Shiny, those type of sets, those high class decks. I think Eevee Heroes is going to be really, really big. And as I said, I'm just really happy that I've connected with a reputable seller, or dealer rather, in Japan before Eevee Heroes actually releases. So it really came at a good time. What do you think about the rumor of the new Marnie collection box? Marnie, very popular character. I think that it's probably a no-brainer that Pokemon creates some kind of product around her. They've done it before with other popular characters, and I don't know. I think that they know that it'll sell. Pokemon knows that it will sell. They know that it will be popular. And so I don't see any reason why they wouldn't release something like that. Alex Dentino, what are your thoughts on the Shadowless Machamp from base set? The first edition PSA population is obviously extremely high due to the printing error, but the Shadowless population is very low. It's not just Machamp. All of the Shadowless. I really think that the price points on Shadowless are soon going to encroach and become congruent with the price points on first edition. Because if you look at the populations from Shadowless and first edition, the Shadowless cards are much lower than first edition. And if you think about it, it makes sense. Pokemon printed that and they said to themselves, well, they don't really like this particular style of card, so let's get it out of there. Let's put the shadow on it, the embossment, and Shadowless cards are just hard to come by, really hard to come by. And we're seeing that as far as population reports are concerned. There's just not many of them out there. So I think at some point, again, we could see first edition and Shadowless be right on par with each other. So yeah, if, in a nutshell, from a from a 1,000-foot view, that's what I would say. But yeah, with the Shadowless Machamp, definitely would be. I think you would be better off investing in that versus the first edition Machamp, which obviously first edition Machamp came in all of the theme decks back in the day as well. So a lot of those out there. Older, rare, mint, or better. Thank you, Derek. Appreciate it. I don't know why I always forget it. I don't know why I always forget. There's always one in there that I always forget. All right. 3B Fierce. Hey, thank you for that super chat, my friend. Truly appreciate that. All right, let's see here. Where do you see, this is the general determination, where do you see GMA graded Pokemon slabs in 3 years? Man, I tell you, there's so much opportunity right now for grading companies to really step in and make their mark. Our big conversation last night, probably that took up most of the roundtable, was the new development with PSA utilizing computer-based or algorithmic-based grading in their systems moving forward. So I don't see any reason why other companies wouldn't utilize this as well. I mean, maybe in the beginning, this type of technology might be an expensive investment, an upfront investment, but over time, that technology is just going to get better and it's going to get cheaper. And if you don't have to hire human graders, man, that really opens the floodgates, in my opinion, to a lot of other grading companies out there. So, from that standpoint, if they're really all on par, they're all really using similar technology, then at that point you have to find something to separate yourself from the other. So maybe that's the aesthetic appeal of your slabs. Maybe that's, I don't know, maybe other things that you offer on top of the grading and authentication. I can't think of any right off the top of my head, but there's a lot smarter people out there than me within these industries that I'm sure could figure that out. So yeah, I would say GMA. Trying to think of some of the other lesser known grading companies out there. The SGC, I think, is the other one. A lot of opportunity for them to step in and really make something for themselves. So. Daniel, what do you think about the red logo fossil boosters as a rare investable? Yeah, we've got that not just with Jungle, but with other sets as well. With the sort of one-offs, I wouldn't necessarily call them errors, but they're just kind of the one-off booster boxes. But I would say, talking especially with Z, he and I talk. James from Z&G Emporium, he and I talk pretty consistently. And he says when he's getting offers to sell especially sealed booster boxes, I mean, without a doubt, it's always Jungle, Fossil, Team Rocket, all the time. And especially Jungle and Fossil. There's a ton of those out there, in my opinion, and in his opinion as well. So if you have something else like the red logo, I think that's a differentiating factor that will ultimately give it a much higher premium over time. Now, if all of these booster boxes get opened, then it's going to have an even higher premium at that point. So I think those little one-off things, it's not just with cards, like with error cards, swirls, all those different little things that we as a hobby hold a higher value on, but also for the sealed products as well. So I think if you're deciding between the two, you're trying to find which way should I go, that's probably the better route. Ryo, I just recently got my cards back from PSA, and there were Korokoro Mew and Japanese base Venusaur, both in 9. Would you sell them or hold them? And if you were to sell them, how much? I'd have to look out on the open market right now to kind of see what those are going for. Japanese base Venusaur, both in 9. You know what? Let's take a look at what I want to do is let's take a look at the pop reports real quick and just see what the pops are going, or what they're looking at right now. We'll go ahead and look at the. Let's go ahead and look at the Korokoro Mew. I'm trying to... Maybe, I'm guessing that it's probably this one that you're looking at here. Probably the Lily Mew. So 29 in a PSA 9. Yeah, the pops are super low on that. I know that for Japanese base set... See if it actually pulls up by that. Oops. I guess it would be 1996. Always interesting to figure out what these are classified under. Let's see if it brings it up. I think this is it. Let's see what the Venusaur... Yeah, the populations are pretty high on it. You know, I mean, at this point, man, honestly, I would hold on to them. The prices on a lot of graded cards have taken a downturn right now. I think that we're probably more in a bearish market right now with a lot of graded cards, especially kind of moving back into these, especially with that Venusaur, I would say. The Mew you could probably sell at a good price right now, but I really think that the market is going to shift once again, probably in third quarter of this year, probably around September. So at this point, I would just kind of hold on to them and just see where the prices trend at this point. But good question, really good question. And PSA 9s, that's awesome, man. That's a lot of people don't realize just how difficult it is to get a card in a gem mint status. All right, let's see. Trying not to miss any questions here. Martha has a good question. I'm curious if Chilling Reign will have an excellent print quality. That's always the big question, especially with new sets, is what is the print quality going to be like? And especially if we start moving more into an automated AI-based grading system for a lot of companies, the print quality is really going to have a huge factor, in my opinion, on how many gem mint cards are going to be out there, especially with modern products, but even vintage as well. But yeah, that is always the big question. I think that, at this point, I think that Pokemon really hasn't allocated a whole lot of resources to printing other sets. I think they're really going to focus on the newest sets that are coming out, and in this case, Chilling Reign. So in my opinion, if you're putting more of your focus on one set in particular, you would think that the print quality would be better. But stranger things have happened. So we'll just have to wait and see. And that's always the thing, is compared to Japanese products, Japanese cards are head and shoulders above English cards when it comes to overall quality right off the printing press. MJ, are PSA autographed Pokemon cards good to invest in? I think so, personally. What's interesting is here a few weeks ago, I had the pleasure of speaking with King Pokemon, Gary Hayes, and PSA just recently authenticated his signature. So now all of the cards that he has signed can now be authenticated through PSA. And speaking with them, it also sounded like they didn't even notify him that they had done so. It was just kind of something that they had done, and he kind of figured it out through the grapevine, which I thought was really interesting, since he was really the one that brought Pokemon over to PSA, a very pivotal factor in creating that relationship, that symbiosis of PSA and Pokemon. So really interesting. But yeah, I would say autograph cards, especially if you're getting Illustrator signed cards, Mitsuhiro Arita, Ken Sugimori, those type of cards, big premiums on those. But even a guy like Gary Hayes, King Pokemon, that carries some weight in and of itself. Derek, here's a good question. What will stand the test of time? DBZ, Digimon, MetaZoo. Any in your thoughts? Personally, from my opinion, if I were to put those in order, I would say bottom of the list, in my opinion, is MetaZoo. And here's the reason being. MetaZoo, unlike Digimon and Dragon Ball Z, they really just have a card game. They don't have a TV show. They don't have games. They don't have all of this other, all of these other products, all of this other memorabilia, and this whole other umbrella of a brand built around it. It's really just the cards, and it's coming out during arguably the biggest boom in trading cards in general since I don't even know when, probably ever. So I don't see a whole lot of viability there. It very well could be, and I could, be totally wrong, which is very possible. But out of those three, I would put it at the bottom of the list. Next up, I would say DBZ would probably be next. I am really happy that the Score Entertainment cards from Dragon Ball Z, that those are being graded, I believe, by both Beckett and PSA now. I love those cards. It seemed like a lot of people, when they were finished with Pokemon, then graduated to the Dragon Ball Z cards from Score Entertainment. I have tons of those cards, probably more Dragon Ball Z cards from Score Entertainment than I do Pokemon cards from my childhood. Yeah, pretty crazy, right? And I'm really glad to see that they're grading those. Dragon Ball Super has also become really, really popular. And the Dragon Ball Super cards, which is modern cards, a lot of the price points outweigh the old Score Entertainment cards. So it just kind of goes to show that modern can sometimes supersede, quote unquote, vintage. And then beyond that, I would say Digimon. Digimon's had a pretty long history, especially even going back to the early 2000s. It's had a pretty long history there. So I'd say that would probably be at the top of the list, probably in most of the social consciousness of collectors and investors for the longest time. So I think I would put Digimon probably at the top of that list. But good question, really good question. What is your opinion on the Pokemon Smash Brother promo cards? They seem not well known. We were just talking about them last night, and I think those are definitely an underrated pickup. And that was kind of a spoiler alert. That was one of the cards for next month that I was going to talk about on the Undervalued series. Undervalued, underrated, unknown. I've kind of added all of those other phrases to it now, but yeah, I think they definitely fall in that category. Basic Trainer, I bought a master set of PSA 8 holos of base set Jungle and Fossil for a total of $800. Wow, way back in the day. Would you keep them or sell them and buy more niche slabs? Man, I think that what you could do is, PSA 8s, I'm sure that, the appreciation that you've gotten on those is pretty crazy, pretty astronomical, honestly. But yeah, it's if that's really what your portfolio is encompassed, if that's really the core of it, then you could take two approaches. You could sell it as a master set, which I think would be really cool. You'll definitely get more of a premium on that, in my opinion, selling it as a master set than selling them off individually. But you could also maybe sell off some of the heavy hitters from Jungle and Fossil and then use those to use the profit to invest in more niche type of slabs, more higher end slabs, cards. I say slabs, but we're talking about cards here. Or maybe take some of the cards that are not high tier and hold on to the higher tiered cards from Jungle and Fossil and allow those to continue to appreciate, and then take the profits from that and then use maybe a portion, if not all of that, to then invest in some of the more esoteric, some of the more obscure type of products. So a couple different approaches that you could take there, in my opinion. All right, Connor B, what's up, buddy? I have a ton of Japanese vintage boosters, but have been looking at the art set pair Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Beautiful pack art. Do you own them or have an opinion? I personally do not have the Heart Gold Soul Silver, and that is definitely one. Man, I tell you, it was another thing that I kind of missed out on, and I hear, gosh, it was probably about 2 years ago maybe that I was considering picking Heart Gold and Soul Silver up, passed on it, wasn't sure about it, and now the prices have really skyrocketed on those sets. And it's at this point, your Japanese vintage boosters, maybe considering selling those and getting the Heart Gold Soul Silver. It's tough. It seems like English will always hold a premium over Japanese, and even Heart Gold Soul Silver, which was a much later set than your vintage Japanese boosters. That sentiment may change later down the line, but as things stand now, I think you would be better off having the Heart Gold Soul Silver, the English, versus the Japanese vintage. But I'll tell you what, from my perspective, it'd be really hard to get rid of the vintage Japanese boosters. I mean, that's the original. That's the thing that sometimes it baffles me, is that these were the original, and this is the origin of Pokemon, or these Japanese products. So it's tough. It's tough. I look at it from the financial perspective, but then I also look at it from kind of the sentimental perspective, or the collector's perspective. And it's always a tough delineating thing to come to a conclusion on. So I guess in the end, you'll just have to find out what's better for you. Hey, Daniel, I truly appreciate that, my friend. Truly appreciate that. Thank you for the support. Garbo Dad, yep. Shaved it up again. It's starting to get really hot here in Phoenix, so the beard had to go again. So it probably will stay gone until the end of the summer. Matt Reardon, what do you collect? So personally, I'm a Mewtwo fan, so I love Mewtwo cards. I also love the Black Star promo cards. I think those are amazing, and really that's just more from a purely nostalgic perspective. When I was a kid, those were a lot of the first cards that I was getting, that I was seeing, were the Black Star promos, especially those that were released for the Pokemon the first movie. Those really kind of hold a sentimental value to me. So I really like the Black Star promo cards. I also love sealed products as well. Obviously, it's getting more and more difficult to try to garner, especially vintage sealed products. But we were just talking with Connor, Japanese sealed products, vintage, are still relatively reasonable, especially if you're getting down into maybe not booster boxes, but maybe booster packs. Still very much reasonable for most people, I would say. And then moving on into the middle era, really like to go back and start to collect some of those products that were coming out when I was taking a hiatus from Pokemon, from about 2005 to 2010. EX cards, e-reader cards, Level X cards, a lot of things like that. I like to go back and rediscover those as well, and just kind of have a little bit more of an appreciation for products that were released during that time. Keegan Fall, what do you think the printing press improvements on the Japanese side lead to that side of the TCG being more valuable to collect, or do you think it increases populations of good cards too much? Yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Because the better quality card that you have right off the printing press than and I mean, ultimately, this is saying that you're pulling these pack fresh and sending them off to be graded. But yeah, I mean, if you're doing that, then if everybody was doing that, then the quantity of higher conditioned cards, better quality cards, is obviously going to be greater. But again, not many people have really delved into the Japanese side. Many people, especially a lot of the people who are coming in and just kind of fickle type of investors, fickle flippers that we saw over the course of last year. They were really just getting to the stuff that they knew, the stuff that they remembered from their childhood. So that was base jungle fossil, and we saw enormous an explosion of quantity, especially from population standpoint, of those particular cards. But we really haven't seen that so much with the Japanese side. Now, could that very well change? Yeah, it very well could. But I think no matter what, there's always going to be a premium for a PSA 10, a CG, especially a CGC 10. And if the grading standards become even more difficult, then people may move more towards Japanese cards because they have a higher likelihood of getting a CGC 10, a PSA 10, because the English equivalent cards, it's next to impossible to get a card of that caliber. So you may see more of a popularity and more demand in that particular area. But yeah, really good question. All right, let's see. George Brown, do you think PSA will try to lose more market share with their change to AI grading standards? Personally, I don't think so. I mean, everyone's got an opinion on this, which is great. A lot of people have said that all of the cards that were pre-AI will no longer be as valuable because we will now view the AI graded cards as harsher, more stringent, and everything that came before it doesn't really hold the same level, the same status. I don't necessarily think that, in my opinion. I think that we will also have a fascination, 10 years from now, if we're purely AI, we'll have a fascination for when cards were graded strictly by humans. And do I think that they will necessarily, go to that standard completely? I mean, it is possible. But I think at least for the next probably 5 to 10 years, you're going to have a human aspect to that as well. We were talking about it last night in the roundtable of things like eye appeal. How do you program something into an AI based system that is looking for something as subjective as eye appeal? I don't know. Maybe you can do that. Maybe AI can pick up something like that, putting in the algorithm and pulling from that from many cards to come before it, and maybe putting in the what the top tier graders are looking for eye appeal. I don't know. But personally, I don't think that they'll lose market share. I think this is the way of the future, in my opinion, and I think that other grading companies are going to follow suit, especially if the popularity of graded cards continues. It just does not make any financial sense to have all of these backlogs, to have, because I think if anything, that is where they would lose the market share if they didn't change their strategy, if they didn't change their structure and how they're grading cards. I think that's where they would lose the market share. I think if you're not able to adapt and change, we see it all the time with companies when they're not able to do so, they go the way of the Kodak. So I'm excited about it personally, but I think that there's pitfalls and there's opportunities, and I'm just excited to see where it all goes. Daniel Lombardo, any new box breaks coming up? So that is one thing I want to talk to you guys about. Let me know in the chat, what do you guys want to see for the next box break? I have got some ideas here, and I'm trying to keep this next box break a little more price sensitive to more people. I'm trying to keep the booster box itself to maybe under like that $1,500 price point, so that maybe packs are, maybe more along the lines, instead of, $80+ maybe more along the lines of like, maybe like $30 to $50 range, somewhere around there. Let me know in the chat what you guys would like to see. Obviously, I actually put a notice out to the community asking you guys what you want to see. And of course, it got things like Skyridge and Aquapolis and, these really, really expensive booster boxes. And that's just something that I'm not going to do at this point, honestly, because I just don't feel like the channel. I mean, realistically, it took from the time that I posted about it, it took about a full month to sell out of the black and white base set. And that was a booster box that was, that I had picked up for like 2,700. So now you look at like booster boxes going 27,000, 37,000. That it's going to be a lot more difficult for people to get in on those. So let me know what you guys would like to see. First edition base set, of course. Basic trainer, of course. Scored DBZ box break. That would be cool too. I would actually really, really like that. They might be getting over that price point as well with DBZ. Love a case of Dream League. Awesome. Maybe Shining Legends. Yeah, Shining Legends would be cool. Topps box break. No one has done that. I mean, last I checked, like the Topps Chrome, the 2000, those were going for like crazy money. Tag Team GX All-Stars, that would be another cool one as well. I think that would be fun. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Kind of thinking something along the lines of, something a little more modern. Maybe something along the lines of like maybe XY base set. I'm trying to think what else that I was looking at that it was possibly under that price point. I was finding some like a black and white Next Destinies for around like the 2,500 price point. So something like that. Maybe XY era, maybe black and white if we can pick it up for a decent price. But ultimately, I want you guys to be able to enjoy that. The other one that I was actually looking at that I think would be a lot of fun, and one that I talked about, almost a year ago, that's done really well as far as growth, is Ancient Origins from the XY era. There's a lot of really cool cards in Ancient Origins. Obviously, you have the full art Primal Kyogre, Primal Groudon, but there's a lot of really, really beautiful cards in that set. And if you look at the values of a lot of those cards out on the open market, all the way from like PSA 8 to PSA 10, really, really good values in a lot of cards in that set. And that's ultimately what I'd like to have, is a lot of heavy hitters coming from a booster box that gives more people potential to have a chance at getting those. Series 1's Topps is at 1,500. Okay, that may be an option there. XY Evolutions. I don't know. Like I don't even know if I could crack my Evolutions booster boxes. Those are like that's like the PokéNav trademark. People think I was shilling if I was opening up Evolutions. It'd be tough too. It'd be tough to crack open some of my my Evolutions boosters. But I don't know if there's enough of a demand. You guys want to see that? You guys want to get in on something like that? Then I can make that happen. Ultra Prism, that might be another one. Legendary Treasures, that's also another one that I've thought of. So all good suggestions there, guys. Really appreciate that. Those are all ones that I've thought about. But I think as far as box break, I'm probably going to be planning for another one. Probably the third week of May is probably when we will have that next box break. But I'll keep you guys apprised of it, let you know what it's going to be, when it will be, and obviously you'll be able to purchase those booster packs directly from the website. So that'll be a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the last one, so really looking forward to doing it again. All right, let me try to jump back to a few more of these questions before we got into those suggestions. Vincent LG, have you seen that Magic has a new collector's product with alternate Japanese art collector cards? Interesting to see them trying to capture the collector market. Yeah, that is interesting. And I mean, I feel like Pokemon has done that. I mean, if you think about it, even a set like Evolutions, there was, talking with people like Omnipoke, there was very few cards in there that were actually playable. That to me was a by and large collector set. So I feel like Pokemon has done it too, but maybe not as outwardly as what you're describing there with Magic. So could be something to look forward to later on down the line with Pokemon. All right, let's see. Do you believe the attention Pokemon has garnered since 2016 can ever subside to the years prior to 2016? I don't know that it would necessarily subside, and the reason being is that now all of the Gen 1ers, like myself, like probably most people in this chat, we're knee deep back into it again, and I don't see that leaving us. I don't see that going down because now it's an intergenerational hobby. We are passing this on to our kids. There's other people that are coming up where, that grew up in later generations that have a sincere interest in the hobby. So I don't know. I mean, I think that the hobby as a whole, when it comes to prices, when it comes to, the investing aspect, even maybe the popularity to a certain degree, I think it will go through an ebb and flow cycle, but I think that the overall popularity of it, if you look at it over time, I think you'll see a linear trend upward of popularity and prices and all of those things that we're seeing now. But, there very well could be dips in there. And in fact, I can almost guarantee there'll be dips in there. Di Capello, hi PokéNav, my name is Daniel. I'm from Venezuela. Hey, welcome, man. I saw your channel for the first time today, and the content, it's awesome. Keep it up. Hey, I appreciate that, my friend. And welcome here from Venezuela. Awesome, man. It's always cool, always really cool to see that people from across the world are watching the channel and enjoy the content. It's awesome. It's kind of beyond words sometimes. Steven, hey Nav, what are your thoughts on the new Sandaconda and Celebi promos? Yeah, we're just talking about it earlier. I believe you're talking about the ones from Silver Lance and Jet Black Spirit. That's what I'm saying. I think Chilling Reign as a whole is going to be an amazing set. They really did a great job with the artwork, especially those promo cards. So I'm excited about them. I think those are going to be big chase cards moving forward. All right, let's try to run through some more of these questions here, get through them relatively quickly. Do you think PSA will have new sticker slabs with subgrades? Very possible that we could see something like that. And especially the more that they integrate the AI, if it becomes cheaper to the consumer, then more people may want to have those subgrades, and PSA may eventually include that. So I would love to see it personally. I think that would be awesome. Why do you predict a market shift in Q3 September? Really good question here. So that is around the time, that is around the quarter that you usually see an uptick for retail in general, is during that quarter. But that's when we're going to start to see the hype. We're going to start to know more about the 25th anniversary set. We're going to have EV Heroes. That, I believe, is when, and actually also on top of that, if you look on YouTube analytically, that's usually when we as YouTubers see the most uptick in content and in viewership. And it just kind of makes sense, right? You're starting to move into the holiday season. More people are wanting to learn about these type of products, things coming out during that season. So it really is all starting to transpire during that time. And so that's why I think that Q3 is when we'll start to see that move or that trend start to change around that September, October timeframe. So that's my prediction. Do you think PSA will ever modernize their label? I don't know. That maybe there's a nostalgic vibe to that as well, where people really like what has been around for so many years now. So they may decide that maybe they do want to upgrade, or maybe they just want to keep it for the old school collectors. Alex Dentino, what % of your investment portfolio would you recommend keeping in collectibles? I'm in my 20s and can afford to take more risks than someone near retirement. Good assessment there, my friend, but don't want to have too much. So typically what we recommended back when I was doing portfolio construction, back when I was a financial advisor, obviously everyone is different, but typically for most portfolios, even for somebody like yourself that's younger, or even for somebody that's older, Pokemon would really fall into that classification: collectibles, which is really an umbrella for alternative investments. Typically, we didn't recommend more than 10% of your overall portfolio allocated to alternative investments. But as you said, you're a younger guy. Depends on how much debt that you may have. If you're 20, probably coming out of college here very soon. If you have any student loans, things like that. Those are all things to take into consideration. All things that we always recommend to get taken care of first. And then obviously contributing to your retirement. All those good things that set you up for the future. And if there's other investments out there that maybe you want to look into as well. For me personally, I've never just solely been in Pokemon. Obviously, I have my investment assets from the financial markets. I do gold and silver. I've started doing crypto now. I've done real estate for a few years now. So I've got it spread out amongst various different areas, which in my opinion, my humble opinion, I think that's a smart way to go to diversify that. So if one market falls off, you can fall back onto another area. Okay. Let's get through. We're going to get through a few more questions here, and then we will go ahead and call it a night. And again, guys, I appreciate you all being here. It's always, like I said, I love doing these Q&As and just love chatting with you guys, seeing a lot of familiar faces in these chats. It's always almost the same people coming back, and that just goes to show how much you guys appreciate these and really the channel as a whole. And like I said, I can't thank you guys enough for coming back each and every time. So it's kind of like we've got a very small, tight-knit community here, and it's like friends coming together to chat every Friday. Okay, let's see. What do you think about this is Emma. What do you think about vintage Wizards of the Coast long term? Some say that modern will outvalue the current vintage because when the younger gen grew up, they won't want to collect WotC. They will want to collect modern. Yeah, we actually talked about this last night on the round table as well, of do we think that at some point modern could outweigh or be of more value than vintage? And I wouldn't discount it. I mean, you look 10, 15, 20 years into the future, there is a possibility maybe among cards that have really high populations. I could see that at some point that they have populations. But remember, at every point, something else will be vintage. So 10 years from now, black and white will be vintage. 20 years from now, Sword and Shield will be vintage. So at some point, everything will be vintage, and all of this Wizards of the Coast stuff, that will at some level be considered an antique. And then you're not just talking about the average collector within Pokemon. Now you're really looking at people beyond the scope of Pokemon, people who are high-end collectors who collect things like fine paintings, who collect relics. This could very well be in that type of category. So now Wizards of the Coast is moving beyond just vintage and into the realm of antique, and that brings on a whole host of new people that would want to garner those type of products. So not a clear-cut answer there, but just definitely some things that we were discussing last night, and definitely a good question. Luca, welcome from New Zealand. Good to have you here. Thoughts on Pokemon and NFTs? I'll be honest with you guys. I have not looked into NFTs whatsoever. I just haven't. There's so much out there. And as I said, guys, you heard me earlier, like I got investments spread among various different areas. So at some level, or at some point, there's just only a certain amount of time and energy that you can allocate towards certain things. And I'll be honest, I've gotten very comfortable with the current investments. Now, maybe at some point I'll start looking more into like NFTs and that kind of stuff, but I don't know. It's just, again, much like MetaZoo, the analogy of MetaZoo coming out during a huge inflationary period. Same thing here with NFTs. It's come out during a very unique period of time, a very unique point in human history. And I don't know that that has long-term sustainability, in my opinion. But again, I haven't really looked into it that deeply, so I'm not the best source to go to for that. Everything else that we talked about today, good to go there. Poke Channel, what's going on? Cuz fam, hey, thanks for joining in. Oscar, what's poppin', my friend? Team Trubbish, what's going on? Hey, you believe PSA will actually lower their prices once AI takes charge? I think so. I mean, it makes sense, right? I mean, especially if they move more towards that. If you're moving more towards an AI-based system, you don't need as many people staffed. Now, it's unfortunate because ultimately that means less graders, there's less jobs. It means people lose their jobs. And that's an unfortunate side effect of the advancement of technology. But with that, you lower your overhead costs, you increase your economies of scale. Ultimately, you can pay that forward to your consumer in lower prices because you've lowered the overall cost of being able to provide this type of service to your customer base. So to me, it just makes sense that the price would lower with the integration of AI-based systems. Poke Channel, do you know how much Chilling Reigns ETB for the US cost? I don't know yet. In fact, my distributor, Rocky, he doesn't know either. All we really know at this point is that Pokemon has increased the price on the new sets coming out. So that's going to have a trickle down effect. So I would imagine that ETBs for Chilling Reign will probably be slightly higher than what you've seen with, especially with battle styles. So if you think of battle styles, $49.99, $59.99 on average, around MSRP. Maybe you might see something like this, maybe at a maybe 5% higher, 10% higher than what we saw with with some of these previous sets. Kevin Torres, what other TCG do you consider a good investment and collectible similar to Pokemon? I mean, there's common ones out there. I haven't really dabbled in some of the others like Magic. We were talking about Digimon earlier. Yu-Gi-Oh! Obviously another big one. I think the Dragon Ball Z, I think that has a lot of potential, especially Dragon Ball Super. Long-term viability there, I think, is quite good. I'm a big Dragon Ball Z fan myself, so maybe I'm a little biased in that area, but I see a lot of potential there as well. How has Metasu gained so much hype? Why are YouTubers even talking about it? From Artie Smith. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I haven't really fallen into it. And maybe it's just because I don't know, I just don't have an interest. It doesn't have any kind of sentimental value to me. It doesn't have any kind of nostalgia to me. And I really don't dive into things that I don't enjoy, that I don't have a passion about. And MetaZoo is just not one of those. Maybe I'm missing out. Maybe I'm missing out on a fantastic investment opportunity. But hey, it wouldn't be the first nor the last time. And that's okay. Mr. Brain 915, what's going on, my friend? Is YouTube your full-time job? No, not even close. This is just a hobby that I do at this point. Maybe at some point it might be an adjunct to some of the other things that I have. For those of you that don't know, I have my full-time job. So I am a power trader. I used to be a financial advisor. Now I work in power trading. So I do energies contracts and buy and sell within the energies market, specifically electricity. So I do that full time. But I also have the entrepreneurial side where I have various investments in real estate, rental income. My wife and I are getting things planned out to actually start a glamping business. Yeah, you heard me right, glamping. If you guys don't know that term, go look it up. Really love real estate. Been doing that for a few years now. So do that on the side. Well, not really. It's not really on the side. That's kind of a full-time job in and of itself. And then Pokemon too. Still, for the last 5 years, I've invested in Pokemon, flipped Pokemon, created businesses around Pokemon. And that's really a small allocation at this point. But yeah, maybe at some point as the channel grows, if it continues to grow, as the Pokemon business continues to grow, maybe at some point I will allocate and maybe, move away from the full-time regular earned income and move into this space. It wouldn't be the first one to do it. You see a lot of your favorite content creators out there in Pokemon that have done so. Probably the most famous example is Leonhardt leaving a career as an attorney, very lucrative career as an attorney, and becoming a full-time YouTuber. So it is possible, but we got a long ways to go, and that's okay. That's okay. For me, it's all about the journey and just enjoying everything along the way. So maybe at some point, never know. Maybe talk to me again in 5 years. Well, it may have a different conversation. Tyrius, you are who you surround yourself with, right? Good advice there, my friend. Tyrius, everyone's going to want that Rapid Strike Urshifu alternate art. Yeah, definitely. Cardboard Empires, what's going on, my friend? Welcome. All right, guys, we're going to bounce through a couple more questions here, and then we will call it a night. I promise this time. As somebody who is just getting into grading cards, what do you think would be the best cards to grade from an investment standpoint from somebody who only has around $3,000? So again, we're gonna use the Scott Pratt commandments here. So older, rarer, minter, better. That would probably be the best place to start. Now, that's not to say that modern and even those middle era sets, there's still a lot of potential there. Really, the best way to go, in my opinion, is a value investing approach. Looking at cards that are currently going for a discount right now when compared to their graded equivalent. So I've done so many videos on it, and I welcome any of you out there that haven't watched those yet. Just look up PokéNav undervalued or underrated cards. I've done several episodes on products out there that we're basically trading at a discount, and the premiums that can be garnered on having those cards graded can be pretty significant. So I would take a look at that to start out. Definitely, the best way to go is trying to pick up bulk cards. If you can pick up binders of cards. Bulk cards in general, and then really going through and picking out the highest quality cards to have those graded. That's probably going to be your best bet. But yeah, listen to the commandments of Scott Pratt. Use the value investing approach of Warren Buffett, and those combined is your PokéNav philosophy. TT Moore, what do you think services built around TATs will look like? I think from this, we will see a higher price to make up for the loss of express services. Yeah, it's quite possible. It'll be interesting to see how they all integrate these services back in. Now that we know PSA is going to, more AI based, will they bring back all of their service levels, or will they add more? Mr. Brain 915. We are going to end with you, my friend, with this final question. Is there any comparison to grading a master set and grading 200 junk cards? Is there any comparison to grading? I mean, a master set, typically when I think of a master set, there's a couple different things that come to mind. You can have a master set where you just have them all completed, regardless of grades. You can have some gem mint cards in there, you can have some near mint cards, and you can have some sub near mint cards in there as well. Then there's master sets where they're all the same grade. So maybe they're all PSA 9s or all PSA 8s, like we were talking about earlier, I believe, with Jungle. And then you've got the top tier where maybe it's an entirely PSA 10 graded master set. So there's various levels there. So you're kind of looking at it, when you use the term junk cards, maybe there's a set that is all PSA 5s or all sub near mint, or maybe all near mint. So I wouldn't say that there's the comparison maybe is, or the similarity is that ultimately you've got a master set, but where on that echelon does that master set fall? And ultimately that's where the price will be determined. All right, Kevin. Last question. Since PSA services are currently on hold, are you grading with another company or are you waiting for PSA to reopen? Well, right now I've got pretty much all of my cards out with PSA. I had 2 large submissions, one back in September and one in January. So I haven't really been doing any grading thus far. Have been picking up CGC graded cards just off of the open market, but even CGC, I was considering sending more cards in with CGC, but even their turnaround times are really backed up. And if you wanted like walkthrough, I mean, you're going to pay an arm and a leg to get that expedited service. And at this point, I'm just not really, I don't really need to. So I'm just waiting to see how things pan out with PSA, with Beckett, with CGC, to see how they start to integrate a lot of these new modicums into their structure, and if it looks better and turnaround times are go back to what they were before, you can bet I'm going to start grading. I have to say though that I really like CGC, and I honestly plan that in the future, I plan on getting more cards graded with CGC, especially now that PSA is moving more towards AI-based, which CGC has been using for quite some time. I mean, how many CGC 10s do you see out on the open market? None. I don't see any. So I think that's a huge opportunity. I think it's a great opportunity to try to pick up cards like that. So that I think that is going to do it, guys. I think that is going to do it for tonight for this live Q&A. Not sure when we're going to be doing another one. I'll obviously give you guys plenty of notice. Usually send it out the morning of the day of. But just want to thank you guys again. Thank you again for stopping in, for taking some time to chat with me, ask some questions, get some answers, and ultimately just hanging out. Like I said, you guys are like friends at this point, because it's like the same people that join in these Q&As, and it's always fun seeing the same faces, or in this case, I guess the same names. But yeah, thanks again, guys. Be on the lookout. Got some cool content coming out this next week. Over the next couple weeks, also be on the lookout. I should have more information on box breaks. Probably looking, as I said, that 3rd week of May for the next box break. So be on the lookout for that. And then also, about a week from now, be on the lookout for the Japanese products to be hitting the website. Silverlance, Jet Black Spirit. If you guys are interested in those, you want to get a little bit of a precursor, an early look at what we will have in store for Chilling Reign, then I would suggest keeping an eye out, especially on the website. And for you channel members out there, I will give you early notice so that you guys can have first access. All right, guys. Wish you a very happy weekend, a great evening. I will see you all next time. My name is PokéNav. I'm here to help you navigate the world of Pokemon, one video at a time.